What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for Love and Hip Hop New York, Season 10, Episode 8. Love and Hip Hop Miami is going to be late because for some reason my DVR cut off in the middle of the episode when I was trying to watch it. So, sorry. Have to wait for it to come back on at 11. So, anyway, with that being said, so we start this episode off with Erica Mena and Tahiri meeting up. It's after the wedding. She's got that whole after wedding glow. They're at a baby shop. She said now that the wedding's over, she can fully focus on the baby coming. And so, you know how they out there. So of course they had to recap the wedding. It was a beautiful wedding. Everybody, agreed that it was a beautiful wedding. Then they got to talking about the whole +1 situation. Jonathan there, Jonathan not there. And Erica brought up a valid point. And see, here's what people don't understand about weddings. You pay for every part of a wedding. And just because she's a quote-unquote, celebrity, or whatever the situation is, if she said there was no +1, then there's no +1. Yandy, you barely got an invitation. How you gonna +1 Jonathan in? And like Erica said, she said there were some married couples that we wouldn't let them bring their spouse. Like, you're invited because I know you, but your wife can't come or your husband can't come. And I've actually been at weddings like that before where you're paying per head. And so I get it that you're married, but I know you, I don't know him. You know what I mean? So anyway, and I just feel like that's disrespectful that you don't respect that. Just because you think somebody can afford to pay for it or whatever. You don't know what the reason is behind that. But if you get an invitation and it says no +1s, they mean even your spouse. If your spouse is included, they will tell you can bring, like your +1 is your spouse, or however, they got real fancy wording for it. However they word it. So anyway, so of course they were talking about that, and talking about, Tahiri was talking about Jonathan and how he sort of got out of pocket and she didn't really appreciate him getting her business, whatever. Y'all, that's what Jonathan does. He's busy because he don't have no storyline. What has Jonathan's storyline been since he been on this show? Ever since that little fake boyfriend that he had for 3 episodes, minding everybody else's business. That is his job. Then we had this crazy scene with Joe Budden and Jim Jones. Now look, y'all, I'm not even trying to be disrespectful because I like Jim. I think Jim is hilarious. I like Jim Jones. But Joe Budden was like, yeah, I got the #1 podcast in the country, and I've been really trying to get Jim Jones on here. So, I'm meeting up with him. The streets is really, everybody want to hear what he have to say, and the streets is really ready for this. And I'm like, again, what streets? Who? Y'all, the other day I was in the car, right, and Ballin' came on, and I remember thinking, I remember when this song came out. I remember when this song, and it just took me back to a place many, 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 many years ago. Anyway, so they're at a cooking class because, Joe Budden was like, my man, why are we at a cooking class? Joe was like, cause Chrissy been wanting me to cook for her, and I realized I never cooked for her, so I gotta keep things fresh and new. So I'm giving it, taking some cooking lessons. Now he made it seem like he's been taking multiple cooking lessons, and the man is teaching him how to make a wonton. Jim, if you have been taking multiple cooking lessons so you can learn how to cook something for Chrissy, why all you made her was one wonton? I'm gonna just let that sit right there. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. When we get to the scene where he cooks for her, he don't have no appetizer, he don't have no entree, he don't have no dessert. He made her one wonton. And baby, she took that knife and fork and cut that one wonton. She cut that one wonton up. Anyway, y'all. So they doing what guys do, talking about, the fact that he hasn't been around a lot. And, he was like, I really love her and our relationship. And I just got to remind her from time to time and do something that she's been asking me to do and try to switch it up a little bit. And Joe was like, yeah, I feel you. Maybe I need to take me some lessons because, my love life just ain't what it need to be. And he said, at this point in my life, the only person that is important, the only thing that's important is my child and the mother of my child. And so, Joe still loves Sin. And like I said last week, word on the curb is that they back together anyway. But neither here nor there. We're gonna skip over that. But to then Joe was like, when you coming on the show, because the streets, he's like, yeah, I was just in the studio. I could bring by some. Nobody waiting on that. And maybe because I'm just not a, hip hop head like that, but I'm not waiting on it. And I like Joe. I like, Jim Jones. I like Jim. But I'm not waiting on it. Anyway, moving on. So then we see this whole thing with Pressure, okay? Let me tell y'all something. Pressure, you's a bitch. You done let your wife go out here, girlfriend, baby mama, whoever she is. You done let this woman go out here and make a pure D fool out of herself. She done went and confronted this woman based off of what you said, even though she knew you was lying. But based off what you said, you done made her look like a fool. And then when she asked you point blank, even though she was being real extra about it, but even when she asked you point blank, were you messing with this woman? Do you owe this woman money? No, I don't owe her no money. I don't know what she talking about. I don't owe her no money. Nah, I ain't messing with her. Nah, I ain't been messing with her. Nah. What you talking about? Then you turn right around and have a conversation with Safari and Papoose and admit that yes, you owe this woman money. And yes, you were having a relationship with her. And your defense was, well, it was when me and my girl was going through something. We weren't even living together at the time. Then that's what you should have said to her. And you let the chips fall where they may. But if y'all weren't together to the point where y'all weren't even living under the same roof at that point, y'all had separated so badly that y'all weren't even living together and y'all were not a couple, then that means that what you did while y'all were together, it is what it is. But don't have this woman out here looking crazy like she the crazy one and make this woman look like she crazy when everything she said was right. You owed her money and you was messing around with her. You was sleeping with her. I don't have no respect for that. None. Because now you got both of these women looking crazy. And like his girlfriend said, she said, once I calmed down, I realized that my beef wasn't with her. My beef was with him. Yeah, after you done already look like a fool. Because see, something that, I don't know why my phone keep going off. But something that, it must have been Tahari said earlier in this season when she said, you never let a woman tell you anything about your man. And that's what you did. You put her in a situation where this woman could tell her something about you. See, had you told her when y'all got back together, though, look, when me and you wasn't together, I was messing with, I had this artist. Money was funny. She put up some of the capital. We got to pay her back out the company once we make some money off the company. And yeah, things got a little personal between us because I thought me and you were done. I thought our relationship was over. So yeah, I mixed a little business with pleasure. Here's the thing. You might get it from her, but when old girl dropped down in her DMs, she would have been ready and she would have had the ammunition and she would have known what the hell this woman was talking about. Now, life at home might have been a little bit, tricky for you, but now it's going to be even worse because now she's embarrassed because she's out here defending you and making it seem like this woman is lying and making up stuff on you, and you gave her ammunition against your girlfriend. Anyway, I'm done with that. But Pressure, I don't have no respect for that. I have no respect for that. None. So anyway, I'm gonna just go on and finish that up. So we see him and him talking to Papoose and Safari, and both of them told him, yo, you need to talk to that woman. You need to go ahead and clear that whole money situation up. You need to let her know that, it was what it was and it is what it is, but I'm back with my girl. And you need to let your girl know, you need to really come clean with her. Stupid. Oh, that made me so mad. And then at the end, when the producer's going to ask you, so, did you love her? Oh, this what we doing? And you're going to take the mic off and be all indignant like they wrong for asking. They ain't wrong for asking. Disrespectful ass. Ooh, that made me mad. So we see Jonathan and Sin, you know, they doing their little Bessie sleepover type situation. And Jonathan told her how things went down at the wedding and how the whole confrontation went with Tahiri and Joe, whatever. And he was like, you know, well, I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I mean, you my friend. It's my job to come back and let you know what's going on. And even Sin tried to let you know, yeah, look, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Like, me, I don't have no beef with that woman. Like, she, you know, she was making comments about me in the blogs, you know, whatever. But I don't be tripping off of that. Like, whatever Tahiri got going on, that's Tahiri's situation. Now, I don't think she really means it. But, Jonathan, ain't nobody ask you to be cutting up like that. Ain't nobody ask you to do all of that. All right, now, Love and Hip Hop, here's where you got on my nerves. Tahiri has a situation where she went for her regular mammogram. It came back unclear. She has to go back and have an ultrasound, and she's worried. Let me say this. As a woman who has gone through that, I 120% understand. That happened to me last year. I went for my mammogram. Breast cancer runs in my family. Went for my mammogram. Went and had my regular mammogram. Went in da-da-da-da-da. They called me back later on that day. No, actually, they called me back the next day at work. And they were like, we need you to come back in as soon as possible because there was a problem with your mammogram. So, of course, I'm freaking out. I left work early. I told, I said, well, look, I can come now. They said, okay, we have an appointment at XYZ time. So, I ran down there. And I had to have what she's talking about. Basically, it's like she said she used the word ultrasound, and I don't know if it's an ultrasound or not, but basically it's a more in-depth ultrasound. And they said, well, it's probably just some tissue, blah blah blah, So of course I got there, and they, now they, after you call me and say it's an emergency, get down here right, as soon as possible, and then I get down there and y'all act like it ain't a big deal. But I had I had another one done, and the preliminary was fine. Like, they told me right there on the spot that what they saw wasn't, there wasn't nothing and everything is good. But what they wanted me to do was go back and get my my first mammograms that I had, my older mammograms, just to see that if what they saw was something that had always been there, if it was something new. And then instead of coming once a year, they want me to come every 6 months. But at the end of the day, it came back clear. Everything was all good. And they actually took me back to a year after they were able to get a look at my old mammograms and compare it. But for that little bit of window of time that it took them to do that second mammogram and verify everything and all of that, it absolutely is nerve-wracking. And I 100% understand where Tahiri is coming from. And I absolutely understand that it's a lot to deal with as a woman, I mean, it's not even just as a woman. Whenever you get a test and they start talking around you and you know that what's not being said. And what's not being said is, if this test don't come back the way it's supposed to come back, then we talking about cancer. Like, let's just keep it blunt. And so it is stressful. It is rough. And I understand where Tahiri is coming from. However, the way they had her acting at the end of this episode, now don't sit here and say that her acting crazy was connected to her being stressed out about this test. I'm not going to do that with y'all. I already talked about the whole Chrissy Jim Jones scene where he cooked her that one damn wonton, child. But then they had the conversation about marriage. They ain't on the same page again. I'm not stressing. I'm not dragging that out. Because when she ready, he not ready. When he ready, she not ready. And they've been together for 16 years. I don't know what the hell else you ready for. I just don't know what else you waiting for, Chrissy. But whatever. If it worked for you, it worked for me. So, I sort of already touched on this, but we saw where Pressure actually met up with his former artist, and she actually broke down the money. And yes, you took that woman's money. She said he charged her $10,000 for social media, and she said she got like 3 new followers. What? It took you $10,000 to get her 3 new followers? She could have done that for free by herself with the right hashtag. So yeah, I thought that. So anyway, I already went through that. I'm not gonna keep going through that. But you owe that woman money, and she negotiated down to 45,000 or 40,000 with you. And she asked him. She was like, "So you didn't love me? So was that all for nothing? Was that all for nothing? You didn't love me? You didn't love me?" And he was like, "You know it was love. You know I loved you, but I'm committed to my, I'm committed to my family now, to my kids." And again, that's all you had to say in that moment. I was with you. I did want to work things out with you. But where I am now is I'm trying to make things work with my family. I got back with the mother of my children, and that's what I want for myself. That's it. I don't know why people make shit harder than it has to be. That is it. So then we have Erica's birthday party. Now, Erica had already said, oh, that's the other thing that was crazy. Erica's, in that first scene, I knew it was something else I forgot, where Sin and Erica were going off about the wedding and Jonathan acting crazy and all that stuff that went down. Then Erica gonna say, well, I'm having my birthday party, and, I have to invite Jonathan. Why? Because that's what your contract say? Because that's just not a conversation that normal people have. You don't spend 20 minutes talking about how somebody crashed your wedding and they made themselves a +1 when you didn't really want them to be a +1. And then they was coming at your other friends sideways about who she dating and not dating. And then at the end of all that, you say, but I think I'm going to invite them to my birthday party. What? So anyway, she invites Jonathan and Sin. And Sin. Now, her and Sin are in a better place. But again, I'm just like, really? So she's having her birthday party. They get to the venue. Safari's narcissistic, conceited ass has pictures of himself all over the damn venue. She said, is this your album release party? He said, no, this your birthday party. She was like, no. And then she got upset and she started crying, which I do think part of that was the hormones, because I think the non-pregnant Erica would have probably cussed him out. But the pregnant Erica got upset and she started crying. Then Safari jumps up on he was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't understand what the problem is. Why is she not happy at the party that I threw her? So then he jumps up on the stage and again makes it all about himself. He jumped up on the bar and he sings a song and then he buys her a puppy and then she's okay again. And Yandy was like, I don't know why he keeps doing these things. He knows what's going to piss her off. That's what I'm saying. I think a part of him likes her being mad at him with that damn Freddy Krueger sweater he had on. Anyway, so Sin and Jonathan show up. And look, this is the part where I got confused. Somehow or another, Tahiri was mad at Jonathan because she said Jonathan showed up and tried to act like everything was all good, but he been talking all this shit about Tahiri and Sin, and now all of us are here together. Me, Erica, and Tahiri are all here together. Now say what you had to say what you had to say. And I was just like, what are you talking about? What are you mad about? But now everybody's saying, oh, Tahiri just doesn't act like this. Oh, this just isn't how she act. Oh, this just isn't her. This just isn't her. And she said, got a lot on my mind, but I just got to keep up a brave face. And I'm like, come on, y'all. Like, so she's going to be so out of character and act this crazy. So anyway, that's where the episode ended. I don't even have the energy for the whole Tahiri, Erica, Sin, Jonathan, because it didn't make sense to me. Like, I didn't understand what Tahiri was so upset about. Like, Sin didn't come in with no attitude. Jonathan didn't have no attitude. I didn't understand the problem. And she calling him stupid and all kinds of stuff. She yelling at the cameraman, telling him to stop filming. I'm like, what is really going on with you, woman? Anyway, that's what it is. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.